Hello, Cogitantes. Madness Returns gives you a girl who spends half her time dissociating in Victorian London while a therapist takes notes. American McGee's said something about the symbols on Alice's dress, that they aren't decoration, they are, quoting him directly, telling a story connected to a psychological transformation across the whole game. This is a remarkable thing to say about a blue dress and a white apron. Alice's look is not an illustration of the narrative. Alice's look is the narrative. When Madness Returns arrived, Alice was already everywhere. And I mean everywhere in the exhausting, inescapable, please not another Tea Party way. Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland had just crossed $1 billion at the global box office. Disney 1951 Alice was back in heavy circulation to ride the wave. High-end fashion lines were doing Wonderland crossovers. Cosplay was exploding, and the mall goth aesthetic had completely absorbed the imagery, which, by the way, is a sentence that describes a very specific mid-2000s hot topic that we all walked past and either definitely entered or absolutely did not, depending on who is listening. So when McGee's game dropped screenshots of a pale, sharp-featured Alice in a blue dress holding a kitchen knife, the cultural reflex was instantaneous, because Alice was never a free image you could just grab and make spooky. She arrived carrying over 150 years of visual inheritance. Carol's original text, which is honestly quite disturbing if you read it as an adult, is entirely about bodily instability, growing, shrinking, losing a sense of self, not fitting through doors. Daniel's iconic 1860s illustration etched a specific silhouette permanently into collective memory. Disney sanitized her into a polite blonde girl. Burton commercialized her back into a global fantasy product. All of that, Carol, Daniel, Disney, Burton, fashion history, a million cosplays, already living in that blue dress before a single pixel was rendered. So a lazy dark redesign just adds blood and eyeliner to what is already there. It is the visual equivalent of painting a black mustache on the Mona Lisa and calling it a statement. It challenges nothing. It is just cheap vandalism of a recognizable image. What Madness Returns actually does is far more precise, and to see it clearly, we need the right tool. James Hillman. In The Dream and the Underworld, Hillman argues that dream images, underworld images, should not be translated into daylight meaning. Traditional psychoanalysis treats dreams like a cryptogram. You dream of a snake. The analyst says it represents your fear of commitment, or depending on the analyst, something considerably less polite. Either way, puzzle solved. Image discarded. On with your day. Hillman rejects this entirely. He says the image is the thing. Don't ask what it means, ask what it does. Think of a nightmare where you're trapped in a flooded house. The standard analytical move is water equals overwhelming emotion. But Hillman asks something different. What does the water feel like? Is it freezing? Is it murky? How does the architecture of the house warp under pressure? You stay with the experience of the image. You analyze the pressure it exerts, not the message it supposedly encodes. And the game is not a redesign of Alice. It is an image of Alice in the process of being undone. Here are 3 Hillman's inspired ways of looking. Ready? Let's go. Number 1. The silhouette. The art book reveals that the development team agonized over this. Their biggest struggle was keeping Alice recognizable as Carol's Alice, Daniel's Alice, the Alice that lives in cultural memory, while making her unmistakably McGee's. That tension was never resolved. Hillman says the underworld image works by being familiar and wrong at the exact same time. And that is Alice's silhouette. The dress is a bridge between the Alice you comfortably remember and the Alice the game is about to introduce you to. Number 2. The apron. The white apron is pure childhood grammar, Victorian nursery rules, the most innocent part of the whole design. But if you actually look closely during gameplay, the apron is marked by alchemical and astrological symbols. Ares, the Greek goddess of strife and discord. Jupiter, the mind attempting to rise above matter. And here's the detail that proves this is intentional. McGee himself has described the dress symbols as telling a story tied to Alice's movement and transformation through the narrative. And in Madness Returns, alchemy is a symbolic science of transformation, historically wrong by modern chemistry, but visually perfect for a story about decomposition and recomposition. Number 3, the palette. The palette in this game is surgical. Blue, white, black, red. Blue anchors Alice through a cultural image, that is the recognition color. White exposes the apron, pale skin, the blinding white of her hysteria combat mode. Black frames everything, and then red. Red invades through blood, wounds, and rage. It does not belong to the palette. Its entire job is to rupture it. The art book confirms this was an architectural rule across the whole game. London, the real world, the psychiatric treatment world, is pure aggressive gray. The Mad Hatter's domain is toxic turquoise and visceral crimson, grinding against rust. Queensland separates drained dead zones from the wet, fleshy reds. Every domain has a deliberate color script. Each Wonderland territory rewrites Alice's physical appearance entirely. When she reaches Queensland, the royal dress reorganizes her through the rigid geometry of monarchy and the chessboard. They are the image of Alice migrating through fractured psychological territory, rewriting what she looks like without asking her permission. The weapons carry exactly the same logic. The pepper grinder is a Gatling gun. The teapot cannon is a grenade launcher. The hobby horse is a warhammer. Every single instrument of violence is pulled directly from nursery, from tea party ritual, from childhood play. The things designed to comfort a small child become the machinery of her survival. Okay, here's why all this matters beyond the game itself. EA's marketing team pushed for exactly that version of Alice, photogenic brokenness, a safe-to-consume psychotic girl. It was not arbitrary. Broken Girl was becoming a marketable image, and it wanted Alice inside it. McGee's design refused entirely. Alice's damage is not on the surface. The dress holds its shape. The silhouette stays intact. The apron remains white. The brokenness is underneath. And the coded symbols you have to lean in to read. In the red that only invades when her world actually ruptures. In the environments that force her body into new forms without her consent. This is a counter-argument to an entire cultural movement, stitched into a blue dress and released into a world that was already learning to mass-produce and sell exactly what it claimed to mourn. So when people say Alice in Madness Returns is just a victim girl, they're seeing exactly what the design intends them to see at first glance. Because Alice's dress is not Tim Burton with a bigger knife. It is a true underworld image. Familiar and wrong at the same time, resistant to easy explanation, traveling through forms lit by a clarity that reveals rather than comforts. The design asks you to face it. And here's the generally exciting part, because I want to end on this. The fact that this game exists, that it got made, survived a major publisher and a commodified cultural moment, and more than a decade of being reduced to cosplay fodder, that is actually remarkable. Most character designs this smart get smoothed out before they reach you, which means the game gave us something genuinely rare. A character whose look keeps giving the more you bring to it. That is not common in any medium, and it means that every time someone discovers this game for the first time, somewhere, right now, they are about to have the exact experience of recognizing something familiar and then realizing very slowly that something is deeply, fascinatingly wrong. And that is a wonderful thing to be waiting for someone in a blue dress at the bottom of a rabbit hole. Happy thinking.